a life outside of this.
So here's a pretty huge story that was ignored for some reason. It turns out that Alzheimer's, which has destroyed so many families and is rising, actually, is different from what we thought. Turns out most of what we thought we knew about Alzheimer's is untrue, and the people telling us this knew it was untrue. And it turns out that this fake information about Alzheimer's was used to push expensive drugs that don't even work, and the FDA knew that but continued to approve the drugs. So all science is settled? Yeah, no, it's not. We'll get details on this amazing story next.
Why does YouTube allowing copyright-protected content on their platform? They are even played after watching videos from the official Fox News YouTube channel. They get hundreds of thousands of views and are considerably a top content creators in YouTube standards. Yet they claim they are the full episode, but they are not. It is because they are leaving out the real stories they don't want you to know about. So two different channels posting two different videos of the same Tucker Carlson Tonight episode that both end around the same time, both leaving out these important news stories. Oddly enough, these stories are exposing big pharma and false flags the United States government have done. Coincidence or conspiracies?
Remember the story back in 2007, March of 2007, a group of Marine Force recon operators were in Afghanistan. They were ambushed by a bomb, an IED, and they fought back. And for doing that, they were falsely accused of mass murder and relieved of duty and put on a war crimes trial, the longest in Marine Corps history. Well, it turns out the whole thing was a sham. Today, for an episode of Tucker Carlson Today, we spoke to Major Fred Galvin, who was the commanding officer, actually, who's just written a book on this. Amazing conversation. Here's part of it. What did your family think?
It was very devastating for the Marines in our company to be shamed this way. That certain, these were the most elite Marines that we had in the Marine Corps. They'd given everything, had done multiple combat deployments. You know, I started seeing, you know, these guys, especially the 7 of us, the co-defendant on trial, he ended up getting cancer. The senior enlisted in his platoon ended up getting diabetes. 3 out of 4 of us, of the 7 of us, the 3 out of 4 who were married got divorced. I mean, this had
no way
huge negative effects. And then guess what? You have no repercussion when you got a guy like Colonel Nicholson slandering you and destroying your character. When you're cleared, you just go back to work. The money that you spend on a homicide, a mass murder trial, you don't get any. You can't sue. Good luck. So we just went back to work, and we all went back and redeployed. As crazy as that sounds.
It does sound crazy.
As we went back and did our jobs.
So you were acquitted?
We were acquitted, yes.
Were you surprised?
I was surprised at how it happens.
Amazing conversation. So Tucker Carlson Today tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. on Fox Nation. So here's a story that has not received enough attention. For decades, scientists told us that something called sticky plaques in the brain caused Alzheimer's, which is one of the most devastating illnesses there is. And then recently, a Vanderbilt University neuroscientist, along with Science Magazine, took a closer look at these sticky plaques. And they found, quote, shockingly blatant instances of fraudulent data. According to Donna Wilcox, who works in Alzheimer's at the University of Kentucky, it was fraudulent. And yet the FDA has continued to approve Alzheimer's drugs that assume sticky plaques are the cause of Alzheimer's, even when the FDA's own advisory panel said those drugs don't work. What is going on here? Well, Chris Bedford is one of the very few people who's taken a close look at what is going on here. He's a senior editor at The Federalist. He joins us tonight. Chris, thanks so much for coming on. This story tells us a lot about a lot, as far as I can tell. What have you found looking into it?
Well, there's not that many evil characters here. There's a couple of fraudsters, it seems, but the real opponent here and the real danger here is there was a lot of pride, there was a lot of ego, there was some greed, and there's one of the things that you love the most, there's a lot of groupthink. Now, for about over 100 years since we first discovered Alzheimer's, we've noticed these plaques are found in the brains. But since the early 90s, since the beginning of really modern Alzheimer's science, there's been information pointing to maybe this isn't actually the cause. Maybe this is more of a marker of damage that's being done. But by then, there were so many egos wrapped into this. Now, when it got to the 100-year anniversary of the first discovery of Alzheimer's, we might have been able to take a second look and say, we've been putting billions of dollars of this and decades of research into this. We've never gotten anything. We've never found any cure. We've never even found found anything that makes it better beyond the first few years. So maybe we're wrong. But then there was this electric new study that came out that got everyone excited, and everyone looked past it. The lead scientists who knew better, there's no sign of them being corrupt, looked past some of their assistants' what appears to be completely fraudulent data because they were so assured. And at the end, there's become a cabal in the Alzheimer's science community, something that one of the senior government researchers described as more of a religious cult than actual science. That kind of groupthink where people are very protective, where the strongest voices in the room are saying this is the only way, that's the only thing to put money toward. When that takes charge in Alzheimer's, you know that's a science that's got no access to real political power, real political money. You know that if that can take hold in Alzheimer's science, what does it mean for global warming? What does it mean for COVID? What does it mean for these other sciences where the scientists who join the cult get real power over our daily lives?
It's just smart explanation. That's the way the world actually works. Corruption is too simple an explanation. It's worse than that. It's a lack of free thinking. I appreciate your getting to that, Chris Bedford, and for your reporting on it. Great piece. Good to see you.
Thank you.